Upon a small, gray-stoned island grows pale green crystals all around. A soft, persistent green glow of the crystals cast colored light across the bluish-hued skin of two figures, mixing the tones into a dark, camouflaging gray-blue. Both are well-armed and by their postures well-trained, sneaking to the lake's edge to peer beyond. A building carved into the rock on the other side ominously stands, devoid of life or occupants. "There," the Old One says, "we will uncover the secret of your grandfather's oath." "Yes, Father," the other responds. Nearby, the silent surfacing of a head, then bulky shoulders and thick arms wielding a vicious two-pronged sword with a sharp winged crossguard slowly breaches the water's surface. With hardly the sound of a trickle, this menacing creature creeps forward, a long tongue licking a lipless mouth, and transparent skin oddly reflecting the crystal's green light, which bathes its organs and bones in a strange array of muted color. Strange camouflage all its own. It approaches from behind, a drooling thirst in its heart and a thumping need in its blood-red eyes. The father turns to his daughter. "Hand it here. I will carry it the rest of the way." "Yes, Father." She responds again with obedience. She reaches into her inner coat pocket, producing a flat, round, and beautifully cut piece of glass, its original color now changed by the crystals, making for a brighter, more vibrant green indeed. Extending her hand forward, she sees her father's eyes widen in the fraction of a second before the cold, cutting tines of the monster's sword slide into her back and out through her chest. Her body goes limp, and the father instinctively catches the cut glass piece and sweeps it behind his back. A vengeful look of shock battles his presence of mind and long-trained military calm. He watches his daughter slide from the blade and land with a thud upon the island's stone floor, and the resonant thrum responds to the vibration as the green crystals seem to cry out in a slow building chorus. The father steps back, his foot splashing into the water as he pivots into a defensive stance, and with intentional synchronicity he releases the glowing object into the water, masking the sound. Slowly moving his hand to his sword's hilt, he steels himself against his enemy, and against his daughter's stolen life. The monster appears to his eyes to be covered in the sweat of anticipation, and beaming with the multicolored glow of bloodlust, with the skin-prickling hum all around them. The sight, the sound, and the situation is enough to slick his palms with nervousness as he clasps his weapon more feebly than any seasoned soldier could ever admit. With a skip in his heart, he draws his blade with smooth expertise, regardless of his emotions. And in the same instant, the monster lunges forward, and the blood seeping into the water creates an opaque wash of death along the lake's edge, as the sounds of ferocious feeding and drinking grows along the dinning of the crystal's song. The wash of blood blocks the persistent light from exposing what treasure now lies within the dark water's reaches.
once I had regained my bearings, I was able to tell the heroes of the visiting Caligni and the attack that followed shortly after. We suspected that the dreaded undead knight attacker had stolen some books and files from the secret library, but to what end we could not say. Lump tested the potency of the growing void energy of the gauntlet and found its power deadly strong, and the heroes took time to reflect upon what information Belcora would have sought to steal away. Deciding to follow the trail of this dread night creature, they followed its trail to the edges of the prisons, where the tracks were lost. And visiting Dulac and the Calignis once more, they broke the news of Badley and the others' deaths in the library, and seemingly shattered what little hope remained within their leader. Thinking now of only pressing on, the heroes went to the Iron Ladder within the fungal forest and began the long climb down to the next vault, arriving in a massive cavern with another subterranean lake, in a sort of lodge, a hunting lodge within the Darklands wilds.
So I recently got back from my honeymoon in the Grand Canyon.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's super awesome being married. Cool thing. Wish it wasn't right around this time with the immigration policies of my country, but we'll get past that real quick. Speaking of other people that do come to my country that annoyed the hell out of me, though, British people, I'm going to need you to shut the fuck up and learn some trail courtesy, because god damn it, you do not have a full voice shouting conversation when we're walking in the Grand Canyon. Everyone can hear about you having a Chinese dinner and putting cheese sauce on it, you fucking heathens. I swear. You know what? I'm just going to change this. We're going to turn this around. We're going to make this a positive experience for everyone.
Early segue into a left hook against the Brits. That's a bold move.
Hell yeah.
Cam, you do realize policy of this podcast is to make fun of the French, right? Like,
I'm American. It was in my writers, allowed to make fun of British.
Boston Tea Party.
It's all overseas to Cam. It's just
remember, you're outnumbered here. We're British territory still.
For sure, for sure.
Part of the Commonwealth, baby.
I got the king on my quarter.
Like it or not.
My fealty died with the Queen.
Heard that.
I'm pretty sure some of your
Fucking
political
Charles.
parties are trying to turn into a republic instead of a monarchy, but that's a topic for another time. I want to know, what is a weird thing that you find fun or satisfying that most people would find painful or tedious? And for me, it is definitely hiking and walking. I love to just fucking walk. Like, just let me go. I'll walk. That and sharpening knives are like the two things that, like, I can just sit there and zone the fuck out, and just this gentle scraping sounds just soothes.
So if you
the
see
brain.
Cam in the park, watch out.
The kid's got legs like a bucket of chicken.
And sharp ass knives.
What about you, James? You got anything? You seem like a creature of tedious or monotonous things.
Tedious,
that you enjoy.
repetitive tasks.
Well, that's just the autism, but outside of that, I got some things that I like to do. One of the best pieces of advice my dad ever gave me was find something you don't like doing that you have to do every day and learn how to make a game out of it or learn how to enjoy it. And I've kind of internalized that to probably an unhealthy degree. Like I like polishing my shoes. I like making the beds. Obviously I like walking quite a bit. I like riding my bike. But when I suggested that, it was because I was writing a health and safety manual for one of our restaurants, like an employee code of conduct. And it was a lot, but I quite enjoyed putting it together. Like any sort of technical writing or indexing, I actually do really get a kick out of.
I just want to point out that I've heard this from James several times over many years now. In particular, I knew you were going to mention polishing shoes.
Me
I remember
too.
You telling me that example of like you hated doing something, and your father told you, "Well, what do you like about it? Find the thing you like about it." And you're like, "I like the way it looks when it's done. Focus on that." I always remember you telling that story.
I shined all my shoes because of James.
Fuck off, really?
Yeah.
Aw.
One day I
No,
pulled them
good
all
for you.
out bunch of pairs of boots, cowboy boots, all my shoes, all my dress shoes, and I've looked great at every wedding ever since.
Shine shoe feels great, man.
Hell yeah.
Never mind the fact that Scott's not been invited to a wedding at all ever since, but
Shut up.
you know.
I regret not having more of a wedding because I would have absolutely invited you guys and then been really sad when you couldn't come because why the fuck would you fly all the way down here for a 1-day thing? But yeah,
There's still time. Doesn't have to be today.
that's true. That's true.
We could do a,
Can
we could do
celebrate
a
whenever the fuck I want.
ceremonial celebration of love.
A hand fast.
Why not?
I did get ordained on the internet back in '06.
Oh shit! Wait, is there a certain denomination? Are you a Jedi? You seem like you would go for a Jedi.
I gotta be a
The
Jedi.
only one that was available at the time, because this was back in the dark days of the internet, was the Universal Church of Life, which I get is extremely problematic now. But when I did it, it was just a cheap cash grab.
Nice.
Hilarious.
Did it for the coin.
I did it for the lulz.
Okay.
Threaten to marry people at parties.
If I can rope us back to our topic at hand here, I'm a big fan of making fires. Not like in public bathrooms or anything,
Yeah.
but
Or
just
ballot
like
boxes.
yeah, or ballot boxes. But
It's
when-
actually the reason Scott can't go to your wedding. Can't leave the country.
leave the country.
I did have several years where I was on the border watch list, but that's a story for another time.
Oh boy.
That explains the haircut.
But no, it's making fires like while camping, just going to get wood.
Are you the fire keeper?
I'm one of them. Gabby loves making fires too, so we both kind of get after it, you know? But yeah, nothing better than that. Made a sick one on the weekend up in Pemberton. It was great.
Jealous.
Nice.
It's still like 30 degrees down here.
Oh, it's cold.
What about you, Dunk?
I mean, honestly, it's like chopping and stacking wood is a lot of fucking fun, despite how potentially dangerous. Like you have to stay locked in, or you'll chop yourself clear in the foot, or and then you kind of have to be careful stacking it. But it's really fun, like playing, you know.
Yeah, you can't zone out too much on that one.
Yeah, it's just simple enough that you don't have to think too hard, but it's hard enough work that you know feel like you're accomplishing stuff, and then having a big old fucking pile of well stacked fuel that'll last you the winter is just satisfying as all get out. So
Hell yeah.
That kind of reminds me how I used to describe my old job of a pipe fitter, is that it's just interesting enough to keep me going, but I could fix any problem with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, yeah. you
yeah,
said that
honestly, like
before,
one of the
yeah.
most rewarding jobs I had was doing landscape installation, where we'd just go into like a brand new development and like rake out the rocks and put some topsoil on, and then you put some sod on and you walk away from it with like a gorgeous lawn at the end of the day, and that's
Dust your
rewarding
hands
as
off.
all fuck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did for you,
Fretman?
Yeah, I wish I had a more specific example like all of you do. I honestly find most things in life to be annoyingly repetitive tasks. And for me, it's a little bit more about shutting out the fact that it's annoying rather than finding some joy in some of the repetitiveness. And I think maybe that comes from 15 years or so of working in a restaurant where it's a constant replenish and depletion. You're doing the same very many small things, like a lot more than people think a restaurant does, and then having to repeat them over and over because when you do it, it's for the purposes of use, and then when it's use, it's gone, and it's got to be rebuilt again, whether that's like batching your cocktails or preparing your food or doing roll-ups for cutlery, or just mopping the floor, like anything. It is a constant replenish and then use and then reset. And I just have had to learn to ignore that. I find it very annoying. It's like Steve Martin with his tinnitus. You just learn to live with it. You just move on. I do not find much joy in repetition.
At least all like the tasks are so small that you're not so like belabored by one at any given time that you have
True,
to
yeah,
dwell on
that's
it.
it. It's not like some massive project that gets fucking scrapped the day after it's implemented or the week after or something like that. It is a lot of small things, but it's it is in bulk, and I prefer to ignore it if I can.
And yet you're still smiling.
I'm just happy your answer wasn't playing with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I was half expecting it. Freeman's been on a
I
real tear
derive-
with Scott lately.
I derive such extraordinary joy in the repetitive task of making fun of Scott. It's crazy.
It is.
Last episode hasn't come out yet, but the viewers are going to hate it. Listeners, whatever.
That's where the bulk of them drop off. What happened last episode? I don't even know. I've moved on.
Speaking of dropping off, what about this big old pit we gotta go down? Oh, thanks. I didn't mean to step all over your segue if you had one, but
We can hold hands and go down together. But yeah, Freeman, we're in a deep dark hole in the middle of the world. What do we do?
Aren't you though? Yeah, you've rough climbing down first. A lot of you have descended the 100-foot long iron ladder into the massive cavern of the level below. This is your first introduction to level 9 officially, and the intro to chapter 9. The second last chapter of this adventure.
the penultimate.
The penultimate
And
indeed.
level 10.
No.
It's down here somewhere. I can
That's a
feel it.
no-go. But yeah, you have entered a massive cavern. You are basically adjacent to some sort of lodge-like building where the ladder comes down to the floor of this cavern. There are loads of mushrooms, mildew, and fungi all around the cave floor. There's an outbuilding, an outbuilding sort of on the edge of another large subterranean lake. You can see in the distance glowing minerals and crystals on the other side of the lake. And there is a big, eerie sense of danger in this big, hollow place. You have stepped into something. You got your first taste of Darklands wilds, the floor above. This can only be more wild.
Is this a mechanical sense of danger?
Nope. Just me setting the tone. You have entered very wild territory at this point, despite the fact that you have this built building next to you. Yeah, it is. It is danger time. It is wilds time. It is chaos. It is. Get ready.
I'm
Just
shaking
get
in my
ready.
polished leather boots.
Yeah, you should be.
Lump takes a piece of beef jerky, puts it into one of their mouths, chews it for a little bit before moving it over to the other mouth and chewing there.
Wait, how do they move it from one to the other? Like just
Don't
spit
ask
straight in the
questions you
air?
don't want answers to.
Deft tongue work, one would
Don't
imagine.
ask questions you don't want answers to. It's more of a gargling sound when the jerky goes like to where their throat would go to their stomach and then back up to the other mouth, like chewing the
Lovely.
Classic jerky on epiglottis sounds.
cud. Yep.
Nice.
I see a door to our northwest, and Lump will kind of creep down to the southeast. Their plate armor clanking gently.
Mm.
And
Yeah, there's
their
big like stone like. No, they're not really stalagmites. They're just big stone columns, I guess, like misshapen stone columns, like natural columns that kind
so
of
it's
block
where, like,
most of you.
stalactites and mites have like met and formed from the limestone.
Maybe I won't specify that these ones are that. Maybe along the way you'll see several of these kind of columns. Maybe you'll assume that some of them are that, but for the most part, they don't appear to be exactly that. They're more like very natural things that weren't quite worn away yet, as opposed to something that was built over time. But yeah, like everywhere you look from where you're at, and as you move around the building a little bit, you see more mushrooms, more fungi, and more of these columns, just like punctuating just how vast and large this place is.
Can we see the lodge?
You're right next to it. That's the wall next to you.
Oh, okay.
Harold, with your experience, can you identify these mushrooms nearby? Are they edible, poisonous? Are they bioluminescent? I'm just curious.
Yeah, they are giving off light. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are anyway. I don't know if there's light sources on the map. Let me just double check. But yeah, they They're giving off at least. I'll go ahead and say they are. They're giving off at least some dim light.
I can go take a look. Let's just walk a little closer, but make sure you got my back. I got a interesting feeling about this place. And Harold will move northwest, seeing a couple doors to this building as he approaches the bioluminescent mushrooms and rolls a survival.
Yeah, you get some double doors on that lodge-like building.
Middling roll at a 28.
Oh, it's a pretty good number. You would think that most of these mushrooms are not dissimilar to the ones above, where for the most part they are not dangerous. You don't have to worry too much about getting too close to them or touching them or them releasing like jets of spores of poison or anything like that. In fact, some of them might even be delicious.
Yeah, I've seen some of these before. These green ones, kind of emerald in color, especially delicious. They taste like chicken if you mixed it with dirt. But not bad. Not in a bad way.
So it's an earthy chicken. And the black and yellow?
Uh-huh. You know what it is. It's mushrooms.
I was going to go with kill a fellow, but yeah. No. In retrospect, I hear it now. Black and yellow, black and yellow.
That's a early 2000s joke for the listeners.
Yep.
I wasn't born then, so I don't get it.
Yeah, you were born before that, though. Anyways, Lump will...
Hence my statement is true.
Freeman still hadn't heard Johnny Cash by that point, so we'll let this one slide.
Lump will cautiously approach the doors. Does my motion sense detect anything on the other side?
Yes, it does. It detects a few individuals. You also see the outbuilding to your west has a single door available as well. But you're up against these double doors, and you detect some subtle movements of 3 different individuals behind that door.
And sorry, just to clarify, these buildings are made of stone bricks, or
yeah, they are made of stone. Yeah, they are hewn stone. They are.
Oh, so clearly manufactured or
they are constructed.
worked.
They are constructed. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
And tell me about the doors.
God, you're gonna make me find the old journal entry for this.
Ruff's taking the detect magic action while you're looking that up.
Harold is avoiding notice.
Cavern ceilings are about 40 feet high. Despite your climb was 100 feet, but the cavern ceiling is about 40 feet high. Smaller caverns would be about 20. And this building is somewhere around 12 feet in height. And you can see the doors are made of a very sturdy wood, but it looks very similar to a door you discovered on the level above, in that it is a sort of fungal wood that's like quite extra sturdy.
Beefy. Tell me about the roof.
It's a beefy door. It's tiled,
Okay.
but flat.
What does it smell like down here?
The scent of the water is quite obvious, but it's less brackish than the one above, less fetid, but still not fresh. It's certainly stale. Most of the scent you're getting, though, would certainly be from sort of this stagnant lack of like any airflow, and like the mushrooms. The mushrooms really release, because they are releasing spores and different things as they grow and spread. But yeah, you're getting more of that earthy kind of note.
And finally, is it warm or cold?
It is fairly warm. Yeah, it's a nice tepid temperature.
You're welcome, listeners. Get immersed in this shit.
You know what? Have a hero point, because we need more of that.
Hey!
Not just to keep me on my toes, but it's good to set the scene.
Lump will hold up a kind of like bloody looking stump, and 3 little mutated fingers will like sprout from it as they nod towards the door.
Harold will sidle up next to them at the more northern door, avoiding notice.
You go single door or double doors?
Double.
Okay.
Nick will do a southern saddle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Nick's flanking one side of the doors.
Ruff will be about 15 feet behind with eyes on the doors and taking that detect magic action.
Rough, you detect magic.
There is magic on the doors or beyond the doors.
How pinpointy is your detect magic right now?
When Ruff says it, Lump will just swap to casting detect magic.
Okay. And you're casting this at what?
Minus
5th
specific,
level at this
yeah.
point.
Yeah, minus to the 5 foot square.
Yeah, mine will only ever be third.
So yeah, how pinpointy is the magic at this point?
I
for
pinpoint
detect
the
magic.
source of the highest level magic like an imprecise sense. I don't know the exact location, but I can narrow it down to within a 5 foot cube.
Okay. Yeah. You detect it pretty much right in the 5 foot area. That's like in front of, in the center of, and behind the seam between these double doors.
Mentioning that, I would like to point
If
it.
if it helps at all.
It's a trap.
I would like to point this out to Ruff and let him identifying it, scooting Nick down and making room. Excuse me, Nick.
Is it on the door? The magic?
You can't. You
Is that
don't
what
know.
we came up with?
It's just like
Okay.
right in that area. Could be behind the door. Could be in front of the door that you don't see. Could be on the door. You don't know.
Harold steps to the north. Scared like.
Who's got good thievery? Anybody?
Yeah, Nick does. Nick's a master.
Ooh.
So I'm concerned this is a magical trap, kind of like that fireball we had a few levels up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember how to disable that, if it's Arcana or Thievery, but I vaguely think it's Thievery.
Well, the first thing you want to do, if that's what you're checking for, is actually roll a perception check. Or an identify magic check. Either one would probably work, yeah.
All right, Ruff will do an Identify Magic.
I rolled 28 perception.
29 perception.
24 Arcana.
19 perception.
Boom.
Okay, sorry, one sec. I'm actually trying to figure out where the hell my DC is for this.
I don't know if the listeners are going to be able to hear this, but the music is very calming and nice, though.
It is very calming. This will be the track they hear. Okay, you got it. Nope, you got nothing.
I am not sure the magic is on the door. That said, I'm just going to wait back here.
Nick, if you don't mind, could you step behind me to the south here? And Harold, if you want to just like poke around that corner real quick. Nick, maybe go around the corner too, just in case there is a blast.
Aye, that's all I need to hear.
Yeah.
He will take cover.
Harold steps further up.
Lump will reach across the threshold and just hold up a hand to like knock and like look at.
Oh,
Ruff.
wait. I might have a thing for this.
Ooh, I might have a thing for this.
Ooh, thing.
Yeah,
thing,
okay.
Thing.
Reaching into his like little purse, he's going to pull out this like little leather sack, and just kind of look at it a little wistfully before reaching into it and coming out with a knuckle bone and rolling mage hand to try and open the door using the, cantrip bones.
I gotta say, I think this one's gone.
It's not gone according to my character sheet.
None of them are gone according to your character sheet, I don't think.
Yeah,
That's not true. Dancing Lights is.
Ooh.
no, that's don't use that. That's a missing link because they changed Dancing Lights. That's not an indication that it's been used.
Apologies.
okay.
I definitely used that one.
Scott
to get
didn't keep track of which ones he used.
I did. It's just all up in my brain chest.
His mind palace.
You have a mind
Okay.
palace.
Brain
I have a
chest.
brain chest.
Yeah.
These are not going to be anywhere near as useful as I thought. Then
No. They're very story
Yeah.
oriented.
It's like pretty good chance most of them have not been used, but the ones that have not been used are like, Produce Flame, Ray of Frost, Chill Touch, Acid Splash. We never used any hostile ones. Definitely used a lot of the more passive ones or like supportive ones. Utility, thank you. So yeah, I'm with Scott. It's very likely Mage Hand's been used. However, since we don't have a proper record, since brain chests don't really are about as inadmissible as what's the word of the in a court of law when someone watches something. God
Oh
damn
my
it.
god. A witness statement? A lie detector test?
Eyewitness is about as inadmissible as an eyewitness testimony. That's the one. I will roll a D100 to see if Mage Hand is available. Although I'm gonna say that it's got to be like 76 or higher.
I'll tell you exactly where I used it for if James can use it again, because I know exactly where I used it. It was
where
a
did you use it then?
spore room, and I sent in the Mage Hand to pick up, I believe, a pouch that had some shinies in it, so we wouldn't have to go in and get poisoned. And I
Was it the
believe
room with the
was-
purple mushrooms with the tendrils in the library? Or no?
Nah, I can't remember that much.
What's the the room. Oh, I know which one you mean.
Near the elevator. Like,
Yeah, it
the
was.
first
Yeah,
elevator.
I don't remember what floor it was on, but there was the one with like the mold, and it was like the whole room was filled with spores, and no one wanted to stand in it.
Yep.
No, yeah, okay, never mind. Forget the D100. Scott's right. I'm quite sure.
Okay.
Sorry, I just know that some
Sorry,
listeners
James.
gonna get at me for that one. So, hey, listener, that
I've
was gonna
removed
get
it
at
from
me,
the list.
Fuck you.
If you can
Yeah,
think
there
of
you go.
any others, please let me know so I can remove them from the list.
We'll take this offline, James.
Lump watches Rough fumble in his pockets for a minute and a half before just kind of patiently
I got something.
waiting,
I got something. Never mind.
and then
Never mind.
reaches across the door frame to go to knock on the door. Like,
As they're doing that, Nick's gonna stop them and say, "Oh, I think I have something for this." And then says, "Get behind me, Lump," and we'll pull out an insistent door knocker.
oh shit! Wait, you could just put this on the wall right here. We could go through the side.
Sick.
Oh god!
So he will. So this is a door knocker that's shaped like an eagle, a bird clutching a ring in its talons, or a gargoyle. Let's go with a gargoyle. Yeah, that's cooler.
Yeah.
Whimsical little gargoyle.
Shaped like Brooklyn.
Perhaps one of these side doors, the side walls.
True, very true. Well, what about like right here? Not where the door is, but just to this. Affix it right here.
Sure.
So they think it's to where the door is. We just want to draw them doorwards, right?
Okay, I'm with it. Yeah.
Okay, do you want to explain to the listeners what this is doing?
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
I've been spending this time reading it, and now I need you to explain.
Yeah, the insistent door knocker. Once per day, I can activate it with an interact action and affix it to a surface. So it fuses in place and creates a usable door within the surface. Any creature can move through the door normally as if the door had always been there. The door can penetrate up to 1 foot of material, so thick material such as heavy stone walls can cause this effect to fail. Expending this use for the day. A thin layer of metal in a wall, floor, or ceiling also causes the effect to fail. You can use an interact action to release the door knocker from the surface and return the surface to its previous shape. So, I guess
you're
as long
basically
as it's
creating
1
your
foot
own door.
thick wherever we are.
How thick is it, Freeman?
How thick?
So if I affix it to this right next to the door,
This is so cool, by the way.
Really hard for me to say no to this. The only justification I might have for the walls on this being thicker, as much as a foot thicker or more thick, would be that very dangerous creatures can lurk here, so they want the ability to be more sturdy. That being said, it feels like I'm trying to find a reason, so I think you're okay.
Yeah, have a cam point.
Yeah, take a
What?
oh, those are
I think
transferable
it's,
apparently.
I think we're here for the old rule of cool on this one. So you place it south of the double doors,
South of the double doors,
and you activate it,
and I activate it.
and a door is suddenly created. Doesn't really indicate if that makes much noise. And the door is there. What do you do?
I would argue that it doesn't create too much noise because the first thing gives you a plus to your thievery check.
Yeah, doesn't make much sense for it to.
Yeah, sure.
Surprise, bitches.
There, I've created a door in the wall in Foundry. It is now up to you to do what you want to do.
If you don't want to go first, Lump will step past.
Yeah, no, avoiding notice, he just kind of looks back. Well, and he will open the door.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Crack the door open. Within, you see a large hall that looks like it was probably once quite grand and impressive. The walls have murals that are chipped and stained, and the floor is covered in mud. There are a few pieces of furniture that look like they've been hastily repaired many times. And there is a fire pit that sits in the center of the chamber. And you see, scattered about the room, let me just reposition these creatures a little bit. You see scattered about the room 3 creatures that look like this, which you would, at this point, assume are, in fact, Caligny.
Caligny, and it's just Harold that speaks Zakroth.
Yep.
I believe so, yeah. And as soon as you crack that door open, their attention is drawn, avoiding notice or not, and they quickly stand up and reach for weapons.
And he'll immediately go, "Oh, hello, and Harold, they're Caligny. We will need you to communicate."
And one of them starts walking back towards the others, and they sort of start to spread themselves out and get next to each other and form a line with their backs against some doors behind them.
This map is wild.
Harold will poke his head in, and Zakroth says, "Stand down. We mean you no harm. We've just come from the other Caligny warriors in Duloc, a floor above you. We come in peace."
And by the time you've even come into the room, they've all drawn a weapon of some kind. One of them has drawn a bow, and 2 of them have drawn short swords. Short swords. Actually, let's just say they've all drawn a short sword in one hand and are holding a short bow in the other. And one of them has immediately stepped back towards the door to the east. As you say that, they've given each other the eye, and then you say this, it steps back, and one of them says in Zakroth, "Drider shit. Who are you? What are you doing here?"
"My name is Harold. These are my companions, Raphael, Nick Cage, and Lump. And we've come from above to rid this place of its former and current inhabitants, evildoers that are striking out in the land above, the land of the light. We have no quarrel with your people. In fact, we've helped them best we can. We're trying to get them to move to some floors ahead to seek safety and food. Now please, there's no need to be hasty here."
The one that's moved back to the door gives it, like, with the short sword hand, just because it gives it a knock, and then steps forward.
Sorry, so Scott's an idiot, but Harold, slightly less so.
Okay.
Would probably remember, what was the name of the leader down here?
I think it's Galudu.
"We have been told that you have a leader down here named Galudu, and we'd like to treat."
And they kind of like give each other a bit of an eye each, because you've now name dropped a few names, and suddenly the door in the back opens, and another one of them pops in and steps to the south, and another one of them pops in, and they both
bring
like,
all your people. It's okay.
take in the situation, and then you hear one of them talk. One in the front that's been talking to you immediately says something in a language you don't understand, and then one of those cracks the door to the south and exits through. And the 2 that did come in, they had their weapons ready. "How do you know this name? How do you know Galudu? How do you know Duloc? Explain yourself further."
We met them above, 1 floor above here, up that ladder, and in a different room. They are starving and trying to survive. They mentioned that you would be down here. We're trying to help them, and it's not all good news, though. I should let you know that Padley is dead.
And one of them, the one that's not been talking to you, just sort of like gives, I want to say it spits on the ground, but they wear cowls, so it gives like some sort of dismissive gesture at the name Padley. Like just like a a shrug of the shoulders, like, who cares?
I understand there's no love lost, but I just don't want there to be any lies between us as we begin this conversation. And he turns to his companions. Is there anything I'm missing that we should be telling them?
It's a lot more than love lost. Those cultists abandon us. They try to stay there towards the surface. They don't seek out a new home. They've given up. Love lost. Betrayal is what it is.
And that's when the other Caligny enters the room again, and the one in the back steps out of his way. He steps in, and in walks in a very notable Caligny.
Oh.
Never mind the crazy magic in her hands in the artwork. That's not currently happening.
But she looks like she'd be capable of doing something like that.
Yeah. Dressed very differently. Definitely more in robes and a little more lithe. And she steps in and sort of like just addresses the one that's been talking.
Do not speak ill of the betrayal. The rest affects us all. Know your place, defender.
And he looks a bit cowed, and she steps basically into his place as he gets cowed back towards the door, and she takes his place.
I am Galudu. What is your business here?
We are merely passing through this area, but we are trying to help those in need on our way down. We are looking for the necromancer Belcora and any of her minions. We will destroy them one by one as we work our way down through these vaults. Any help you could give would be appreciated. Sorry, my Sackroth ain't that good.
Perfect.
Nailed it.
But if we could help you, we will go on and do that as well.
I know little of this necromancer, and I have little reason to trust you and your altruism to help those in here. So unless you have some sort of proof, some way to show that what you say is in fact genuine, I suggest you leave.
There's no reason to get bothered like a bee under your collar. We can work this
I've been
out.
bothered like a bee under my collar, as you say, for a long time, as we try to eke out survival in this place. Do not push me further.
Understood. And Harold's going to turn to his companions and be like, all right, she seems a little testy. Does anyone have any sort of proof? One of them books you've been talking about that we could show her? Oh, my apologies. Of Belcora existing and any other wrongdoings and evildoers down here. They don't necessarily believe us.
I've got some pretty good stories. Those are kinds of proof.
Does Duffy speak Sackroth? They surely can attest to the atrocities that have been seen.
I only speak of the crimes done against me, with all the things shoved down my gullet without my permission.
As Duffy says that, Lump will reach in and pull out the Whispering Reeds.
Those aren't crimes, that's show business, baby.
Hold still.
There is also the pendant of Eurivian somewhere that perhaps could...
What about one of them? What about them reeds or Belcora's notes or something like that? Wait, but they can't read whatever it's in.
Whispering Reeds was lost in the Great Loot Purge of 24.
It's in the stash.
It's somewhere. It's somewhere there. It was definitely on Tulok's person.
That guy's dead. Who cares?
Roll me a
fuck that guy.
Scott. Roll me a perception check for a sense motive.
It's a not so good, but a 26. 10 on the die.
Because I think you're doing quite a good job on taking the lead here, and you, for the very first time, managed to very smoothly correct your misspeaking of a word. I'll give you a hero point to roll on that if you like.
That's right, baby.
Scott taking drive-bys and a compliment here.
Yeah. Parking strains.
All right, that's a 2 on the die for an 18.
Oh boy. Okay.
Perhaps we offer them a gift.
The only thing I'll give you is that the longer you take in trying to figure out what to discuss with these creatures, the more on edge they get, and the more ready they are for hostilities. The time you've already wasted a very short amount of time, and they are ready to pounce.
Okay,
You haven't left yet, and they're not interested.
we need something quickly here now, y'all.
Quick perusal, Freeman, just because Lump is more military minded. What weapons do they all seem to be carrying right now?
Short bows and short swords.
Okay.
And the Galudu has a dagger on her belt, but otherwise is unarmed. And if you want to roll me a warfare lore, I will. I might be able to give you something a little extra.
I would love to. I would love to roll higher than a 7 for an 18.
Yeah, I can't give you anything else. I'm afraid.
Yep.
Oh,
That being said, if anyone wants to quickly roll a recall knowledge check, I know you already know what Caligni are, but you don't know what these kinds of Caligni are. I might be able to give you a little extra on these creatures.
we also have the portrait of Volek. I don't know if that would help.
I don't know what a painted picture would prove to anyone, but we can try it.
This is that fucker I was telling you about. Okay, what are we rolling here?
Just roll me a quick recall knowledge.
I'm rolling esoteric lore. Oh, only a 20.
30 Arcana?
I think it was supposed to be society.
No, it's got to be society. Yeah.
Wow, when you say recall knowledge, that feels like it's open.
Well, that's never been the case.
I know.
So I don't know why you invented your own new rule here.
Because I was under the impression that Caligni were from another plane.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna use a hero point because fuck it. That's a 36 esoteric lore, baby.
Okay, and you can use that normally, right? To identify a creature,
Yes, because it's a creature. Yeah. So I don't need to take the penalty.
right? Because your penalties for like other topics, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's a lore, right? It's a lore. Hot damn.
Give it to me, baby.
Yeah. That's what you are facing. The majority of what you're facing here are Caligni defenders, and they pose in this group together a really large risk to your party right now. They are intelligent, well coordinated, and can probably fuck you up as a group. They are very martial. They have innate spells they can cast to their advantage. They will use poisons upon you. They do suffer from light blindness, but because this room is already illuminated, they've already adjusted to said light blindness as much as they can. And but they know their weaknesses. And their leader is a unique creature, but you still managed to roll enough for a regular success. Definitely a powerful spellcaster for them to have survived their surroundings. The best of that group of Caligni, the smartest, the brightest, the least likely to succumb to some sort of cult variation, are here and ready to not fuck around. You are in proper danger if you engage or allow them to engage you.
Okay. Do we have that list of the floors?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
these are the hunting grounds.
Perhaps someone wants to pass that up. Now, we had some sort of map or list of the floors.
You probably do know it, having been filled in. Presumably, that would be vital information that would have been shared to you along the way, I think, when you first got introduced to the adventure.
Right, yeah, but what I'm thinking is if I can show this to them and let them know that this is what floor we're on, what floor we're going to, and
Oh, yeah. So you don't have like a diagram. It's written in a book.
right,
you
but
know,
that's
it's-
fine even because
yeah.
if we can be like, hey, this one is called the hunting grounds. Up above was the farm, and down below is the fucking super death chamber.
Okay, yeah, and so you're the point is to show them that you know a lot about what this area.
I'm grasping at whispering reeds here.
God, you're on fire, Scott. What's going on here?
Another backhanded compliment there. Loved it.
It's like an open-faced shit sandwich.
Both hands splat.
So
yeah,
if someone
I mean-
produces the book, Harold will say, I don't know what languages y'all can read or speak, but this book has details about this place. We are currently on the hunting grounds, as provided by this. Above us, we have a farm, laboratories, arenas, libraries, all sorts of places, and we are going down. We're heading down towards our final destination at the bottom of these abomination vaults, the temple to Nimbaloth.
So we do have blueprints for the top 3 levels: the ground, the library, and the servants.
Okay.
And on those blueprints, it does say Phase 1, Revision 4, B. Haravex.
Give me that.
They're in the journal entry,
Sure.
PC information, miscellaneous maps.
Okay. Oh yeah, because you did find maps. You did find detailed maps along the way from different sources.
Only of a few levels, yeah.
Yeah.
The rest were just described in the book in the private library, which I think was what was stolen by the Hell Knight.
So, stepping
yeah, if you say
forward,
this, like, Galud is just like, I fail to see what this has to do with us. It has to do with what you're doing here with us now. You have something to do. Congratulations. These are hunting grounds. Our entire life has been hunting grounds. You speak of levels designed for such a thing above? Luxuries. I don't care. My people will survive. That's what I do care about. And you seem to be interfering with that attempt at survival because you will not go. Why? This is your last chance, mind you. Should I listen any more of what you have to say?
if we can remove this evil, you will be able to live in this place in relative harmony with the creatures that you know from around here. If we can remove what is going on, we can create a safe harbor for you. We have been trying to do the same above for your kin. Although I know that they have betrayed you, we are trying our best. Duloc needed help, and we helped her. In fact, she was infected by some sort of creature. It was playing with her mind, and we ridded her of that infection. Truly, we wish no quarrel. But if we can have a symbiotic relationship and move through here in peace, help each other if we need to, it would be best for both of our causes.
I was going to challenge Scott to tell me what the name of the creature was, what type of goofier it was. But James put it into the chat.
It was an aub.
roll me a diplomacy with a +2 bonus.
35.
Holy
Pretty good.
Fuck
Good.
yeah.
That's pretty good. Good job rolling those digital dice, bud.
I hacked it.
When you we'll kind of like assume a retcon, an assumed retcon here, a little bit of what you've said. When you mentioned that Duloc was affected by something, and we'll assume that you've mentioned it was in fact an Aub, that registers with Galudu, and that gives her some pause.
Episode 115, listeners.
The note taker. You can see her mulling it over. In fact, you see a little bit of like glances amongst the Caligni defenders when you mention the Aub. This is a creature that seems to be known by Caligny. Galudu kind of shakes her head to clear her thoughts a bit and try to refocus in the conversation. And she says, "Okay, what you say, what you have said so far, means you know some things. You have named names, and you have pointed at evils that we know. I will look into this myself. However, I still do not trust you. So keep in mind that this place is not a welcome hearth. In the meantime, I still ask you to leave. And the next time you come back with caution, and come back with a dut, 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 dut." She basically gives you a code of sorts to, like, let them know it's you at the door.
A shave and a haircut.
Oh, that was a knocking pattern.
Yeah. She, like, basically, hand on the wall, gives you a knocking pattern, and assumes you understand what that means.
We understand. It was a pleasure to meet y'all for the first time, and I hope we can move forward together. We bid you farewell. And Harold will step out the door.
She turns immediately and starts, like, goes to gesture to, like, give commands to the other Caligny, and says something in Sackfroth instead of Caligny. Roll me a perception check to see if you catch it.
Fuck it, I'm hero pointing that. That was a 19.
All the hero points today.
30.
You hear her say to two of them, go back to the Bright Walkers. And then she catches herself, realizing she's speaking Sackfroth, and switches back to Caligny and starts commanding everyone else. And they all kind of, like, start separating their way. The three that were in this room originally start walking up to the door that you created and, like, basically at a distance escort you out. And Lump, you can sense some shifting of furniture within the room, basically, as the door is shut and they prepare for, as much as they can, not the same sort of intrusion. No, infiltration. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Nick.
Moving a bookcase so we can't play the same song twice.
Yeah. They start moving the anything shelves all over the walls.
And after the door is shut, Nick just says, "And I'll be taking my door with me," and uses one action to take the door knocker off.
Perfect.
Lump will look over at the other door and just shrug. Should we check over here?
Is that something we want to risk? I mean, Harold, that seemed like it went mediocre at
Harold doesn't
best,
need to
I would
explain.
think, by body language and context. Are we allowed to rummage through their other building? They looked very tense.
Harold will have disseminated basically everything that was said once it got out of that room.
Cool. Yeah.
Perhaps we don't trespass further then.
Lump will put their grubby little hands back in their pockets, kick a rock, and start marching south.
I'll go ahead and give Nick a hero point too for remembering to use that amazing item and facilitating quite the experience.
Thanks.
By sort of catching them by surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, unless Freeman has something, like Lump just kind of wants to... What's this? Lump sees the thing.
What do you see a thing? What are you doing? Sorry, explain to me more what you're doing. You just said
Lump
Lump just
following-
sorts of sees a thing.
Lump,
Give me something
after
on.
kicking the rocks and being told don't do a B&E, which is, as been described, their favorite thing, will start to march southwest along the shoreline. And as they do, their light will kind of splay across the mushrooms, exposing 2-3 creatures to the southwest.
Oh yeah.
Lump seeing them will squint their eye.
Yeah. So let's roll me a perception check real quick, because there's a part of this map. This map is quite big. In fact, this map in Foundry is split into like 3 pieces. But I still
No
want
shit.
it to. I still want. Yeah, it's huge. I still want it to be bigger than that. So there's a certain swaths of it that I want to imagine are farther distance away. And your light extends to what? How many feet for the
120 feet.
120 feet? Okay. What'd you roll for perception?
Oh, I rolled a 2 for a 19.
Okay. Whatever it is, Cam sees. I'm gonna say Lump does not right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lump will just continue along, trusting everyone to follow.
Should we not be going back for a Dulak in the rest of the Caligny? We had found them safe harbor, no?
We have, but I also would like to get a better sense of the lay of the land before we continue climbing back up, climb back down, and facilitate this. If there's something else we can find down here, then wouldn't it make more sense to go up there and rest after we've explored down here some?
And as I mentioned, they feel like they've been betrayed by Dulak and her people.
Yeah, they don't seem to get along.
I don't think
Harold
that they want to come down here, or vice versa. Harold continues to follow Lump.
Okay, so what you've done, okay, so just for listeners here, you've gone from the lodge, you've ignored the outbuilding, you've gone to the coast, the shoreline of the subterranean lake, and you are following that along with, and to your south is a big swath of glowing mushrooms, basically, okay?
Yep.
And that's what you all are doing, or does anyone have anything to say about, beyond going to the Caligny? Is anyone want to go a different direction or what have you? Just got to make sure conversations happen before someone starts wandering off and everyone follows randomly.
I mean,
Ruff will begrudgingly follow, like, well behind. Again, his top priority has been stated a few times.
Mhm.
So
Harold loves exploring underground spaces and hunting creatures, so he is following Lump with eyes on the water, scanning across, looking in the mushroom patches, and is just traversing this terrain, trying to just see what's going on, but very interested and in his element.
are we sure we have time for this, Mr. Lump? Harold.
Lump will just stop in their tracks.
I like the adventure, but because remember the Gauntlet's about to go off too, right? Like there's a lot of shit happening right now. We're supposed to go to Ildaris with the Drow. We're supposed to find the Caligny a new home, and the Gauntlet is going to go off tomorrow.
Ruff, as you pointed out, Longsaddle and the guard said that they would handle their own business in Otara. We have no need to go there. For the Drow, we have not run into any yet. We will go back when we need to make an introduction. I am more than willing to listen to your advice, and if you say so, we will turn around right now. I don't have problems following orders, as it were. But I am curious why you are so eager to handle this in this order.
Well, as once a cleric of Pharasma, the preservation of life is always going to be top of priority.
Well,
And
Pharasma-
many of Dulak's people have already perished, be it through starving or through the upward scouting party. We do not know what the Dread Knight stole from the library, and Harold had an excellent suggestion of going to the prison room and perhaps destroying those creatures before they could be fired. I feel like we have more pressing business than I stroll around the ocean front down here.
Lump
But
kind of narrows
is a
her
discussion,
eyes
of
at
course.
Ruff, for saying Pharasma preserving life, because as far as Lump knows, that is not one of Pharasma's edicts. Like, Pharasma is, ancient prophecies, making sure people are laid to rest, but she is ultimately the goddess of death and does not care. Like, everything must die and come to her. She doesn't care if you die early or not. She cares if you're undead, but she doesn't care if you die. And I don't know if that's just James being a little like maybe
Yeah,
his sect of
I-
Pharasma was more,
Yeah.
you know, matronly, but like Lump, this is in character. Lump is just narrowing their eye at
Yeah,
getting
it's
this.
not about her actual role, but about her role in the cycle that he's more concerned about.
That's what I was
We've
thinking. It's like the
established that
cycle of
Nimbalast's whole thing
life,
is fishing
basically,
souls
yeah.
before they can get to Pharasma. But yeah, I get
Because
it.
there was something to
I
be
get
said
it.
about how the cycle of souls, the souls being the primary thing, like that is sort of the essence of mortal life. It's the essence of lots of other things too, but it is like primary thing. So it's like I immediately thought it's a good like sort of thing to like narrow your eye at, but also it's like just a sort of
And Ruff's
interpretation.
concept of life goes beyond this mortal coil
Right.
now, right?
Yeah,
No, for sure. Like, just Lump doesn't really understand the Shika.
Oh,
None of
totally.
that's been explained. So as
yeah.
far as they
I
know,
love
like,
I love that like.
it's just
You say it this way and you mean it another, and then the listening ear is like, I'm not sure you get what you're saying, and it's cool.
because like Lump was around the time that Aridin was still kicking, and the Hell Knights were literally formed because there were false prophets of Aridin walking around claiming this is what Aridin believes and sacrificing people, and they were formed to put down this cult. And so like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people pretending to be part of a religion that like Lump is now like looking a little bit sideways at Ruff, but like that's just because they don't have enough context, I think. But like they still trust and like Ruff, so if Ruff says we're gonna go back, Lump will kick another rock towards the metaphorical lake of life and like, let's go.
He's just opening it to a discussion. Like, we have things we've talked about doing, and we are on a bit of a ticking clock today, more than anything. So James as a player just wants to make sure that this is what we want to be doing.
I
'Cause
wanted,
this isn't. I don't feel like exploring this level as a
Yeah,
priority.
because I think
all.
maybe the point that's trying to be made, tell me if I'm wrong, is that you don't have a direction, but you have places to go that might give you direction. And right now, it's aimlessly checking and exploring and wandering, as opposed to following a lead that maybe gives you something to go on. Because right now, you kind of have nothing but.
No,
Right.
no. I get what Cam's saying. It makes sense
Okay.
to scout this area and
Mhm.
make sure there aren't any immediate threats before we bring them down, like they said.
Sure.
Or maybe I'm putting words in your mouth.
no,
there,
that's
Cam,
that's
but,
pretty much it. And like Lump
and then
also
we go
doesn't
up
like
and we
Drow,
rest and we heal up.
so
yeah.
doesn't
Oh, yeah.
want to go talk to them any more than they have to.
Sure. But I mean, for Ruff, there's a lot of shit happening here between the Gauntlet having decided he's going to poison this Medusa for Lump, having, like all of
Lot
these
going on.
things on top of that too. So he's just asking the question.
No,
He's
I
a
know.
little trepidatious about everything that's happened.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. And like,
But he
Lump
gets
is-
it, and he'll cow at the gaze and just follow along.
Well, hold on. Should we have a meta player vote here as to what we should do?
Well, the conversation's happening live. Why doesn't Harold or Nick chime in as well?
I know we have a lot pressing to deal with, but I think it would be prudent to take a quick look around. We're here. It won't take very long to get the shit knocked out of us and then we can head upstairs.
Said the character looking for the dragon's lair.
Not telling anybody about that.
Not
just
telling anybody
yet.
about it. Yeah.
So many secrets.
So good.
Okay, yeah, we can explore down here again. James the player just wants to fight.
I know.
yeah.
Ruff
yeah.
the character wants to help people.
Cam the player also
Yeah.
wants to fight, and Cam the player saw tokens they weren't supposed to. So it
It wants to fight. Yeah.
Get him.
Does Harold
and that's
have
where we're
anything
gonna
to
call it.
Well, I'm excited to explore this level, show you what I can do, but it does ring in my mind that we should be killing these creatures before they can be unleashed on Longsaddle. They are prepared to fight, but they might not know the true dangers of what they're ready to fight. And if we could destroy some of them dangers before they get to them, that would be a boon for the community of Otari. Them having to fight their own dead again, or worse, would be enough.
Lump shrugs their shoulders and tugs at the front of their breastplate to adjust the weight. I believe we discovered and I am not much for the arcane or the occult, but I believe we discovered that if we attempted to kill the creatures before, we could risk freeing all of them at once. And that was the reason that we didn't go to do that immediately. Does that ring true to anybody else, or did I just make that up real hard?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that rings true. Yeah, and that's why it's never been Ruff's top priority. He was just more laying out what's happening around them. James, the player, is fine with that. You know, walk in, wand of fireball, opening. You know, walk in, scroll of grease, wand of fireball, and just set the place on ablaze. You know, the old Scott McBabs doing arson.
Doing arson.
Grease and arson.
I think you're absolutely right, Cam. But I do vaguely remember it being like a roll. Like once we break the glass, there's a
flat check.
25% chance.
Yeah, there's a flat check that would cause those imprisoned creatures to like automatically die. But if they don't, you got to fight them on the spot.
Every single one of them, or just the one in the cage that we're trying to open?
We don't know
Cage.
which one's the cage we're trying to open, so we got to.
Currently,
Okay,
there's
do
no
it all.
cage in front of you, so I don't know what. I kind of don't know what current creatures you're talking about. Like we've kind of referencing the creatures in the sort of prison cells,
Yeah,
the stasis
I'm
fields
saying
in the prison
that
chamber,
when
right? The
you
prison
either
level.
destroy them or they're released for you to fight them. But is that all of them? All the cages go down at once, or just the one that you're trying to?
One at a time. Yeah, they're separate stasis fields.
Unless we set the room on fire.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just remembering how long it took Krucka to bash his way through that stone, and he was way better at hitting things hard.
Through the one that was
than
like
any of us.
defunct.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And it took a long time. Like it's yeah.
Like none of us have adamantine gear. Like unless you just want to like, I'm completely like Lump has no ties to Otari, so Lump does not care if a bunch of town guards and Long Saddle die about it. Like they said they got it.
Well,
they got
surely
it.
Lump has a very loose, lingering tie in that it was the first time in a long time they were treated like a person.
They don't want anything bad to happen.
But I know
they
Lump
also,
also gave that up. But
yeah, like
at some point after, yeah.
Lump literally said Sal is dead. There's only Lump. Like
Yep.
that.
Oh, yeah. Lump's made it clear that they have no.
Yeah.
You know, they tried to suggest we go to Otari, and it got shut down because of Long Saddle. So this makes sense. I guess we're just going to continue exploring this level for a little while and see what pops up next.
what's everybody's vote? We seem to be at a crossroads, and that's where you meet the devil.
Ruff looks around for some pale moonlight.
Harold pulls out his fiddle and just starts playing it expertly. Who else has an infernal contract? Harold, what do you vote?
I vote we kill the creatures in the cells.
I vote that we continue here until we find a satisfactory answer to if this is clear or not.
I vote we get to Duloc and bring her down to Galuto. So that leaves you the tie-breaking vote there, Nick.
Uh-oh.
The tie-breaking? The
Follow
three
your heart.
separate things? I'm actually surprised the prison thing even came up again. I have no idea how you even got there. I'm so confused.
It got
but-
brought up, and then I was like, fuck, maybe we should do this.
Yeah,
No.
we talked about it in 129 when we came back.
Yeah. Nick, let your selfish heart take the lead.
I think Lump is correct here. We're here. We will have to explore this level. We might as well take a quick look around, and then we can help the Caligny.
It's settled then. We continue forward.
As you say. Ruff will keep his sword drawn and shoot a forlorn look back at the ladder as he catches up with the rest of the party.
And I speak for myself and on behalf of the listeners. Thank you, Duncan, for not making us go back up 2 floors only to maybe fight some more creatures.
Wait, I
That
changed
will
my
just-
mind. Let's talk to
That
the
will
Caligny some
just
more.
waste time.
wonder what the drow are doing.
See, that would be actually interesting. That would be interesting. But like maybe fighting somewhere around 7 to 8 creatures, 2 floors above. We could do it. And in fact, one of those creatures might actually murder somebody, which is fun. But let's. Okay, so
Maybe Rin wants to have some tea.
I wonder what Kevin's up to.
That freak.
Didn't you know? Don't you know? He's the BBEG. He's been up to a lot. He's got so much going on.
I've never seen him and Belcor in the same room.
He shows up. He shows up in a dark cloak, and he's like, "Call me Darth Jar Jar."
Boo hiss.
Boo hiss. Okay, so you have effectively voted to continue along and explore. Basically, same track of mind. Get the nooks and crannies. Make sure your back is covered. Thin the herd of danger. And you set out, continuing to the south, I assume, along the shore here. So as you do, everyone roll me a perception check.
Ruff is going to take the avoid notice.
Nick is scouting and had a 27 on the perception.
Okay.
21 for Ruff.
Lump is going to take the defend action and 36.
Oh, okay.
Harold would like to... Is there a survival-based exploration?
Exploration
Yeah.
activity?
Search, I think. Well, Scout is also that.
Yeah, I guess maybe there's
Maybe
a searching
recall
around. I
knowledge
forget.
to like their surroundings. But yeah.
Cover tracks.
Yeah, that's doable too.
I'll just avoid notice.
Yeah, there's covering tracks, or probably for the best. Lump, you notice that as the water's edge reaches the wall to the southwest, there is a very, very narrow ledge that you could climb along very gingerly that would lead to the mouth of a cave over yonder. As you round the sort of cluster of fungi that you are near, you do spot the tokens you saw before. You spot a little gathering of creatures, and you realize that your light is about to spill across the cavern towards them very quickly. How do you respond?
Have I got a glimpse of them to be able to make an identification?
Do you have dark vision?
No, I have dim light.
No, then no. You catch a glimpse that there is something there, multiple somethings there. But if you see them, they're gonna see you. So you have to make a snap decision.
Yeah, Lump is not stealthy, so just gonna see if they're friends. If not, we're gonna fight about it.
Okay. So you step forward and you see, the first thing you see at a distance is a very gaunt-looking, bluish-hued creature. You can't make out the full details, but I will show all of you this. A humanoid.
Oh,
That is armed. Hot.
is it the whip
yeah,
chains? Is that what's doing it?
A very is the
or
whip
is it
chain?
the
Is
leather
it
belt mini skirt?
It's the see-through legs.
The see-through legs. Oh yeah.
the transparent skin? Is that what's
Oh, that'd
doing
be.
it for you?
Oof, I don't know.
You put a bicocket on her head, and oh boy, yeah, you see what is very obviously a guard to an entrance within these caverns, and your light flashes down the cavern towards her, and she shifts, and then another one behind her shifts, and you see you can see a couple others start to gather up as they become very alert to your presence.
Hello. Do you speak common?
You start to hear them talk amongst themselves in a language you I mean, it's muddled. It's actually muddled. You're yelling across the cavern. They don't speak back to you.
I will roll a 28 on esoteric lore to see what type of creature this is.
Yeah, it's an Urtifon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a group of Urtifons. Yeah. You would assume they are very much not friends.
If I recall correctly, Lump and Tulok murdered one of these that was captured by Dulok's party?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong?
Yep. One of these was murdered. You also met one that was petrified at one point. And you also murdered or fought a flesh-warped Urtifon, the Molventalk.
In the tavern.
No, outside the tavern, but I think same level. Or in that area
Okay.
anyway. Oh, no, there was there an Urtifon in the tavern?
In the tower. Yeah,
I think there was an Urtifon in the tavern.
Episode 74. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah, I think the bar...
Episode 74 and 115.
I think the bartender might have been an Urtifon.
Correct, she was.
Yeah.
These are Urtifon. They ain't our friends.
Let me quickly remind you of what you might know about Urtifons. They are very culty, and their cultiness seeks blood and death of all living things. That's pretty much all you need to know. They
Apparently
are
the one we met was called Hot Glue.
Huglu was the prisoner.
Yeah, I wrote it as Hot Glue, and I stand by it. We also know they speak Aklo, and we know that one step to Lump, trying to make them flinch, and it did not go well for them.
Yeah.
Don't they explode when they die? Do we know that? Or
They
is
do
that just
explode when they die.
mostly
Sublimate.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Fun.
Well, I speak Aklo. I don't know if we could treat with these folks.
Fuck that. And Lump will just cast heroism on Nick.
Ooh. He says heroically.
And you are going to fight? Is everyone ready for that?
That's my plan, yeah.
Yep, fair enough.
James wonders if this is the entrance to Ildaris. But, okay. Let's go.
Why do you wonder that exactly? Just out of curiosity.
You said they were guarding something. Some sort of an entrance.
Yep.
I don't think they'd be a part of Eldaris, though.
Ildaris is a trade frontier city. Anyone can be part of it.
It's not a
Black
city.
Cowboys were
It's
there.
not a city.
Outpost.
Outpost,
Yeah.
right?
Outpost at best.
Yeah. But frontier town, like
Fair enough.
that's where the weird go to chill. But I don't think Ruff sees any of this with his low light vision. So it's fine. Let's go.
Okay. So you call out. You get a response of a huddling of these creatures, which then ready themselves to defend. And you cast a spell and run in.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Nick will yell out in Aklo, "Hey, fuck you guys!" And I think it will start.
and I mean that's where we're gonna call it. And we'll roll initiative next time.
Such a
Not-
tease.
Not our greatest any new episode, but I mean, fuck you guys is pretty decent.
Hey, man, sometimes you just gotta go out on a "Hey, fuck you guys."
Fuck you, Brian. How about that?
Stemming the Tide is an actual play podcast of the Adventure Path Abomination Vaults and is produced by the Uncharted North Network. Stemming the Tide uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Stemming the Tide is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Music is composed by Will Savino and artwork by Greyhood. Stemming the Tide is recorded remotely using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If you wish to connect with us or support this project and projects to come, we can be found at unchartednorth.ca, patreon.com/unchartednorth, and on all major social media platforms. Links to all credits can be found in the episode description and our website. Thanks for tuning in.